Kia ora and welcome. My name is Lisa Allen and I am the Director of Wintergreen Creative. This clip is going to detail 4 seated/kneeling positions. We're going to look at Sukhasana, Padmasana, Baddha Konasana and Virasana. So first up, if you happen to have a block and a blanket, then please have them with you. You might like to use them. Otherwise, we're starting off with Sukhasana, easy pose. So I want to sit with my legs crossed in the middle of my shin bone approximately. I'm going to look down and I want to be able to see a triangle of mat or blanket or floor underneath me. I want to have my hips and my knees almost on the same line. So if I find that my knees tend to stay up quite high, then I'll take a block or a blanket and I'll sit on it. To even everything out. So that's a little bit high for me. Great. So this is Sukhasana. Sometimes in this position, people complain about their feet hurting. And what I've discovered is that that's because this part of the foot is pressing into the ground. So you can feel, if you touch that part of your foot, you can feel the bones there quite easily. And when they come in contact with the ground, it hurts. So if you flex your foot and aim to get the outside edge, that really fleshy pad being the part that connects with the ground, then you can alleviate that problem. Yeah. And if it's still an issue, then think about padding your base a bit more, an extra mat, and putting a nice blanket underneath your feet, or just doing whatever you need to make yourself comfortable. Okay. So in this position, my pelvis is tilting up a little bit. So if you just take your hands to your hips and just make that motion, so my thumbs are just pressing into my hip bones here, and they're moving upwards, and my fingers are moving back and down, my pelvis is tilting. So what that does is it creates space in my lower back. From here, I also want to just think about pressing my tummy back towards my spine and then lifting my rib cage up. So I'm very well supported here. Yeah. That's it. Sukhasana. You want to change the cross of your legs as well, because we have 2 sides of our body and often they're actually quite different. So our hip joints tend to develop differently on each side. I know that this side for me is a little bit more open and free, and this side is a little bit more restrictive, and it really does feel like it's something to do with the bones. So that could be something that's going on for you as well. So it's really nice to change the sides that you're working on, because your body will probably naturally always go to the side that feels more open and free and good. So just notice for yourself which way you naturally tend to go into the position. And if you're in classes where the teachers don't ask you to change your legs, then just notice for yourself, and when you go into the position, do the side that you don't naturally want to do. Just a little tip. That's Sukhasana. From here, we're set up for Padmasana really. We can very easily go into Padmasana. So that's the lotus pose, which is said, if you sit in this pose, you can attain enlightenment. So that's cool. Yay! We'll do Ardha Padmasana first. So Ardha means half. So take the foot that's in front, flex it, and I just straighten out my leg a little bit just to make sure I've got lots of space around my knee. And then I just draw the thigh muscle down a little bit as I bring this leg on top of my thigh and lower the leg down. So this is Ardha Padmasana, half lotus position. So same as before, tilting the pelvis down, sitting higher if you need to, stomach back, rib cage up. And what's happening with my foot? Does that feel okay? I've got my foot flexed. Yeah. So that's good. And as always, just really listening into your body. Does your knee feel okay in this position, or is it a bit tight? Yeah. So this is getting to be quite an advanced position, so you really don't want to push it. You want to always listen to your body and just decide, is this actually right for me, or do I want to just keep working with my Sukhasana for now? Great. So changing sides, flex the foot, bit of space here, coming in, stomach back, rib cage lifting. Ardha Padmasana. So to come into the full pose, your bottom leg is then going to come out. Again, my foot is flexed, and then I'm just bringing this foot up onto my other thigh. This is my more challenging side. I've got this tighter hip doing its thing. But it's the same thing. I'm protecting my lower back. I'm pressing my tummy back towards my spine. I'm lifting my rib cage. Relax the shoulders. Tune into what's happening with the knees. Do they feel okay? You can support your knees with something underneath. A nice soft blanket or something like that. Yeah. And then, of course, changing sides. So now I put my right leg up first. Ardha Padmasana, and then coming into Padmasana, my feet are nicely flexed. So the reason it's really important to have your feet flexed when you come into Ardha Padmasana or Padmasana is that I want to protect my ankle. And if it's flexed like this, it's really nice and strong. Yeah. If I start to sickle my foot, then all of a sudden my joint weakens and there's a lot of pressure put on it. So I want to really make sure that I keep my feet flexed. And if it's not possible for you and you feel really good in the position, then you listen to your body. This is your yoga, and we're all tuning in to what works for us. But it's really important to keep yourself safe and to keep asking your body, is this okay? Do you feel good? Are you safe? Padmasana. Releasing that. Straighten the legs out for a second. This is Dandasana, the staff position. And then just take hold of your knees and bend your legs in. Take the soles of your feet together. So we're coming now into Baddha Konasana. So Baddha means bound. And Konasana, Kona is angle, asana means position. So this is the bound angle pose, also known as butterfly. Yin. All right, so when I'm working in this position, it's the same thing. If I feel like I could do with some extra support, I sit on a block. If you know that you're really tight, if you've got a stiff lower back, your hips are stiff, your hamstrings are stiff, your groin is stiff, if you're stiff around this general area, I really do recommend sitting on a block or a blanket to get yourself higher. It helps to get your pelvis in the right position. It just gives a bit more space for opening. So I've got the soles of my feet together here. And you just tune into what feels right. I'm going to take my feet quite close to my perineum. Now, I'm thinking about my groin. And what I want to do is I want to extend my groin. So I'm going to press the soles of my feet together and just notice what happens in your legs when you do that. Pressing the feet together, activating the groin and some other parts of my leg. So you just feel in and see for you what happens when you press the soles of your feet together. So this is a lovely tool for us in Baddha Konasana. Press the soles and then allow this lengthening to happen from where the groin begins and an extension towards the knee in that direction. So I want to create length and space in my body before I even start to think about depth. See, my knees are quite close to the ground. Yours may be up here, and this is perfectly fine. So we don't want to think straight away that, oh, the aim of this is to get my knees to the ground. We want to first think about creating space and length. So first lengthening out, pressing the soles, lengthen, lengthen, and this may be where you stay. If you are up like this, why not take a block on each side, blanket, something, make sure it's nice and even. Yeah? And then you just work in this place. But if you do have a bit of space, after creating length, press and lengthen towards the knees, my knees are moving away from each other, then I can start to think about depth. And you breathe here. And same as before, tummy wants to go back towards the spine a bit, and then lift your rib cage. And then, of course, like the other seated positions, you have options of what you do. You can go into forward bends and all of the things that we've done so far. But that's maybe for another video. So from here, we're going to come into Virasana. So come onto the side. We're going to start by simply kneeling. My knees are together, my toes are together. Now I'm going to lift my bottom up and I'm going to take my thumbs and tuck them in behind my knees. I'm going to draw my calf muscles away and roll them out. I'm going to take my feet apart. So drawing calves down, rolling them out, and then just very gently and carefully sitting myself down between my feet. So I'll show you what that looks like at the back. Roll. Just sit. So this is not an easy position for a lot of us. So we're going to look at some modifications here. So if you want to work with a prop, a block is definitely your friend. So here I go, lifting up, making space. Well, actually, let's place the block first. Make space and then come down. So basically, I'm just not going down as far. Yep, so that gives a bit more space for my knees. It feels really good. This may not work for you. You may need some more height. So you can take a blanket or a bolster, put it on top of the block, and just nestle it in on top of your calves there. And then, space coming down. And that feels nice and comfy. So you can sit here. I'll show you that at the back. So that's lovely. There is another option. So in BKS Iyengar's book, Light on Yoga, he talks about some steps that you can go on without using props to build up what you need to come into Virasana. So he talks about firstly sitting on your feet, and so you would take one foot on top of the other. So you can see if you look up his pictures, his demonstration, his feet are really like that on top of each other. But that's not going to be very comfortable for a lot of people. Yeah. So it's okay to just play around and find what does feel comfortable for you. So you're listening, what's happening with my ankles, what's happening with the rest of my feet, my knees, and just finding a position that feels comfortable and supported. So that feels pretty good. And then the recommendation is that after a while of sitting like that and getting quite comfortable, you will start to increase the distance between the feet. Here. So it would be a progression if it's something that you want to work on for quite some time. But just remaining aware that everybody's body is very different. And I talked before about bone structure. And actually, for some people, there are certain positions that actually will never work in your body because of the way your bones have grown. So it's, again, listening in, asking your body, how does this feel? Is this safe? Is this something that feels right to explore? This gradual expansion? Or is this actually where I need to stay for this position? Just always asking yourself, what feels right for me? Okay. So that's Virasana. I hope that that is helpful. So we've met in this clip Sukhasana. So this is the way that I naturally always come into this position. I always have my left in front. So being aware of what your habits are and changing that up. From here, we looked at Padmasana, nice flexed foot here. We went into Padmasana. Yes. We went briefly into Dandasana, the staff, to set up for Baddha Konasana. And then we came into Virasana with lots of options and this idea of rolling the thighs out. So I was in a beautiful class once in Rishikesh, and my teacher, there was somebody who had very sore knees, and he recommended just getting a very, like a belt, a strap that you work with, and just popping that behind the knee. And then the student came back and sat down very carefully with the strap in that gap. And basically what it was doing was creating a little bit of extra space. So whatever was going on in the knee, and just had that little bit of extra space and room to find its way into a good alignment. it didn't feel so compressed for that person. So that is something that I do share with my students sometimes, but I'm always very careful just to make sure that that's not going to do any damage. So that's a little tip that I picked up. But again, just really feel in, go slowly, see what feels right in your body, and do take care. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video and got something from it. Let me know if you've got any questions, and have a really wonderful day or night, whatever time it is for you. Bye.